Hello? Hey, is this Sarah? Some guy asked. It sure is. I answered my phone all enthusiastically, but after hearing this guy's voice, my enthusiasm was somewhat suppressed. Who may I ask is calling? My name is Jay, spelled with only the letter J, not Jay, just J. I saw your ad on Craigslist that you're looking for a room share. I actually have something for a single woman if you're at all interested in coming by my place today. Excuse me. He spoke with a dark, dull voice that had an eerie weirdness to it. Maybe it was because his lungs were filled up with tar. You could tell he was a smoker with the amount of how much he coughed. I was reluctant to answer back after hearing his murky voice, but then I thought it was safe to ask, "Are you in the San Diego area? Because that's where I work." He replied back, "I sure am," but he still had that gloomy tone in his voice. "Would you like me to send you a picture of the place?" Of course, that would be nice, thank you. I definitely knew a picture text would help me determine if it would be the right place suitable for me. I just didn't know if he would be the right roommate for me. Instantly, he sent me 5 pictures of the enormous estate. It was gigantic with an infinity pool, hot tub, colossal sized rooms, windows that overlooked the Pacific Ocean. This house looked more like a mansion up in Beverly Hills than a typical San Diego suburban house. I work at Starbucks. I make around $1,500 per month, so I was hoping rent would be around $800 per month. I sent him a text. I forgot to ask you, Jay, how much is the rent? Right after I sent the text, he sent me a video text of the backyard with the infinity pool overlooking the gorgeous mountains as he spun 360 degrees, showing me the entire view. But something didn't seem right in the video. When he was spinning 360 degrees filming the video, he said, "This place doesn't look like a place where a serial killer would live, does it?" With a creepy, dark, dull tone in his voice. When he said that, it gave me goosebumps from head to toe. I didn't know why someone would say something like that. He texted back, "I could do $500 per month." The place looked phenomenal. Any person would love to live here. I thought, wow, this is a real steal. I replied back with a text message. "When's a good time to come check out the place?" He instantly replied back and said, "Why don't you come right now? I'm available right now." I had to be at work by 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. and it was 30 minutes to 6, so I replied back, "I'm sorry, Jay, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. I have to head to work." He replied back and said, "Okay, well, I have someone else coming right now. It's gonna be first come, first serve, but thanks anyways." I was totally bummed. I called my work really quick, hoping that they would have someone to be able to cover my shift. Luckily, I was in luck. After I talked to my manager, and he said, "Don't worry about it. Go take a look at the place. We hope for the best." The place was hidden up in the hills. It was about a 30-minute drive from Starbucks that I worked at. Ideally, I would like to be a little bit closer to my job, but I'd also rather be living in a mansion. My current apartment I'm staying at has mold and bugs everywhere, and it's really run down, so I'd be glad to be getting out of my current apartment that I'm living at. I texted Jay, "Hey, I'm on the way." I thought it was quite odd that he texted his name only with the letter J, not Jay. You know, like Jay Leno? He sent me a text saying, "Text me when you're 5 minutes away." "I'm almost there," I replied back. I was about 8 minutes away, but if I drove fast enough up the hill, I'd get there in about 5. "Great, see you soon." He ended the sentence with 5 exclamation points. With 5 exclamation points, he must have been having a good ass day, but when he spoke on the phone, it didn't really sound like it. The San Diego hills are outstandingly gorgeous. The drive up to Jay's mansion was very rural. With twisty roads, I traveled up the hill. It seemed like all the estates I drove by had electronic gates that led you into the beautiful mansions. My GPS on my phone alerted me. You have arrived at your destination. The electronically controlled ornate iron forged gate was already open, so I drove in. The driveway was a little over a quarter mile long. The expansive motor court of the breathtaking neoclassical estate was enormous. I saw Jay standing outside. He was wearing blue jeans and a blue jean top, almost like Jay Leno, but he was standing by a 1987 rusty Toyota pickup truck that didn't really match this $3 million estate. I rolled down my window and asked, "Hey, are you Jay?" He looked at me with a huge, creepy smile and said, "Yes, that's me." His voice sounded sinister and demonic, even more in person. He approached my driver's side door and opened the door for me as my car engine was still running. I looked at him strangely as I mumbled, "Is it okay if I park here?" It seemed as if he was rushing me to get out of my car. Something seemed very strange. I didn't feel quite right. "Yeah, you're good. Come on, let me show you the place." He gestured with his hand for me to step out of my car. The way he talked seemed more like a con artist than a man that owned a San Diego mansion that was worth close to $3 million. So I asked him in a straightforward manner, "You got a nice place here, so what do you do for a living?" He hesitated for a second. "I'm a doctor, yeah. Brain surgeon, yeah." He said it in a way where it seemed like he was thinking what he was saying before he said it. He also seemed like he wasn't quite there in his head. I shut off my engine, then stepped out of my 2015 Honda Civic carefully as I peered my eyes side to side, looking at the property. The sound of gentle water trickling from the statuesque carved fountains created ambiance and charm. I felt like I died and went to heaven. As I was still gazing at the property, I saw a for sale sign lying on the ground. "Why is there a for sale sign lying on the ground over there?" I asked. It was quite strange the way it was on the grass, almost like someone dug it out of the ground and tried covering it with dirt. Jay seemed startled. "I just bought the house." "Really?" I muttered underneath my breath. I took a good look at Jay from head to toe as he stood there just chit-chatting about the house, about the square footage, and about he was talking about writing a thesis for his med class, being a doctor and going to med school, and kept rambling on in his gothic tone. One thing that seemed odd to me was he wore these big black boots, probably lugs or Timberlands. It just didn't seem like boots that a doctor would wear. I don't know if he could sense that I was feeling uneasy or uncomfortable. Something just didn't seem right. He walked up to me and said, "Sarah, please come into my humble home. I want to show you the bedroom." With a gloomy smile, he grabbed my hand and held on tightly. His hand was cold and calloused, definitely not a hand of a doctor's. He started walking forward, and I gradually stumbled behind him. Everything my body was telling me to not step forward. I heard an audible voice in my head that said, "Stop, do not go." And then I froze, and I stopped walking with him. He looked back towards me and said, "Come on, babe, I want to show you the bedroom," in a creepy tone. "Babe? Excuse me?" I pulled my hand away quickly and raised my eyebrows. "Sorry, Jay, but I think I'm going to get going." I turned away and started walking back towards my Honda Civic, and then Jay shouted, "Where do you think you're going?" He grumbled in a threatening manner. I looked back towards Jay. He had a disturbing look in the dim moonlight. He then charged after me and tried grabbing me in a headlock. I used my fingernails and clawed him right in the face like a cat. He started screaming. I poked my index and ring finger all the way into his eyeball. With my 2 fingers, I pulled his eyeball right out of his socket. His eyeball dangled on his cheek from the optic nerve. There was blood everywhere. "I'm gonna get you, bitch!" he wailed like an alley cat. "Oh no, you're not!" I shouted back, holding my fist close to my face, ready to jab him like Rocky Balboa. "You want some more of this?" I shouted. I was frightened, but I was ready to fight. At the time, I was watching a lot of UFC fighting, and I knew a little martial arts, but I was no expert like Ronda Rousey, or shall I say, my favorite, Misha Tate. He lurched back at me one more time, but I clogged him straight in the face with my fists, causing him to fall on his back. He then got up and ran back towards the backyard, screaming like a little girl. I heard someone screaming from the upstairs. The front door was open. I felt frightened walking into this now haunted house, not really knowing what could be up there. "Help! Please help! Is anyone out there?" The cry sounded like a voice of a woman desperately pleading for her life. I pulled out my cell phone, but I had no reception. I tried dialing 911, but the call just wouldn't go through. "Please, someone help! Anyone! Help me!" The voice continued shouting for help. I felt like I was in one of those horror films. It was dark now, around 9 p.m. I just wanted to jump back into my car and drive out of this creepy Craigslist room share thing I got myself into, but something was urging me to go back inside. I walked inside the mansion. It was dark. I tried flipping the switch to the lights, but they wouldn't turn on. I walked up the dual sweeping grand staircase. There was a crystal chandelier that lit up my pathway with candlelight. "Help! I can hear you. Please, come in here." The voice sounded terrified. "I'm coming!" I screamed. As I ran up the dual sweeping staircase, I got to the second floor. There were several rooms, but one door was fully open. I ran towards the door and entered. There was a girl in her mid-20s tied to a chair. When she saw me, she screamed, "Please, get me out of here!" She was panicking. I kind of had a feeling I knew what was going on with this J guy. He was definitely no owner to this real estate property, and this is no legitimate room share on Craigslist. I pulled out my phone. I only had 1 bar of reception. I dialed 911. The call went through. "911, what is your emergency?" The female operator answered calmly. "Yes, I'm at 1725 Milkmaid Lane. There's a crazy man at the house that's trying to kill me and some other woman. Please, send police here ASAP." The operator said, "Ma'am, please calm down. Tell me exactly what's going on, and please be specific." "There's a man that attacked me and tied up another woman in a room. He's some weirdo off Craigslist." When I said Craigslist, the operator said, "Oh, Craigslist. I'll have units get there as soon as possible." It was almost like Craigslist was the magic word for help. Like if you're on a ship and you radio an SOS. I untied the girl and she ran towards the door of the bedroom and slammed it shut and locked the door. "Thanks for saving me. Oh my god." She was crying. She looked hysterical. I asked her, "What's your name?" "Emma." She had tears running down her face. I kind of had an assumption I knew what was going on. The creepo J on Craigslist was luring women into this mansion that was listed on the market so he could take advantage of them. I asked Emma, "So are you also here for the room share?" She nodded her head. "Yeah, I had it out on Craigslist and this guy named Jay said he had a place available for $500 per month. He actually gave me a different address yesterday, but my car broke down so I wasn't able to view the property yesterday. And today he gave me this address, which is a different address from yesterday. I thought it was a little odd, but he told me that he accidentally gave me the wrong address," Emma said hysterically. Within 5 minutes, several officers showed up at the house looking for Jay, but Jay was nowhere in sight. He vanished. I told Officer Briggs, which was one of the many officers that was there, I pretty much pulled his eyeball out of his socket, so it's not like he's going to be able to get too far. Officer Briggs said, "Oi, yep, I've heard a lot of horror stories from Craigslist. Next time, you make sure to screen the person a lot more carefully before you meet up with them," the officer said as he made a police report. "You got it, Officer Briggs." Emma asked to have an ambulance take her to the hospital. She was just really shaken up. I asked if I could have a couple officers escort me home. They obliged and escorted me home safely. 2 days later, Officer Briggs gave me a call and told me that they found Jay. His name was actually Jason Blender. He was a serial killer on the FBI's most wanted list. He was a truck driver that drove state to state looking for new victims on Craigslist. When he found open houses that he could break into, he would go on Craigslist and search for women that had ads looking for a room for rent. He killed 15 women throughout the United States in a 2-year span, but now he's finally locked away behind bars where he belongs. He will definitely get the death penalty, but I really do hope the inmates give him a little beating while he's still living. Like Officer Briggs told me, next time I'm going to be a little bit more cautious before I meet someone on Craigslist.